What's up, guys? I've got the last video of the season for you here today. It's a brand new team. I decided not to make my leaderboard push with Shadow Victory Bell this season, which may be very good news to a lot of you watching, very sad news to some of you. But anyways, we have a brand new team here, inspired by my Retro Cup, or last Retro Cup team, which is probably my most successful one. Here we have Lickitung, Jellicent, and Medicham. So before we get into this, huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. I could not have done this without you guys. Yeah, thank you so much. This is the end of season 7, so another big season in the books for all of us, and hopefully it went well for all of you. Yeah, let me get right into the gameplay video here. So you'll notice at the beginning, my Medicham is actually not at its full potential. We have my Medicham is going to be at 1482, but it receives the best buddy bonus from starting up in this game, which is kind of cute, I thought. Anyways, these are some of the top battlers in the world. I went up a ton of rating over the first couple days. I have since completed my push on Tuesday. I already lost my streak earlier on in the season, so last season, so it was not too big of a deal for me. I'd rather just avoid the anxiety and just play to have fun, and the queue times and anxiety got a little bit too much, so I decided to call it quits on Tuesday, sitting at 52nd in the world, I believe. So this team definitely could have went a little bit further, but the amount of stress and effort to do that, I'm not sure would have been worth it to me. So let's take a look at the team. It's all pink. Pink is back in. We have the pink color bonus on this team with Lickitung, the female Jellicent, and Medicham. Note that I now have a new Jellicent. My blue one was built back when you can catch them in the wild, and is going to be graduated to Ultra League, so I figured I might as well build this female one now. We've got Lickitung in the front, yeah, the Jellicent in the middle, and then Medicham in the back. This team plays a little bit like a balanced team. A lot of the times you're going to be staying in with Lickitung and soft losing that lead or soft winning it. And then either Jellicent or Medicham can do a lot of things with switch advantage, or they can farm something down and do a lot of things with energy or shield advantage. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, Charmers in the back are an issue. I don't see a lot of Charmers where I currently am, as we watch a Charmer on the opposing team right there. But it's not too big of a deal, and even in this game with that Charmer, it doesn't even have to see my Medicham. I don't have to reveal my third Pokemon. Let's go into some gameplay, show how this team actually works. What I did was I took the first 3 sets I played with this team, and then I also took the last set I played with this team to kind of cap it off. I normally would probably only show the first 3 sets, but I wanted to kind of show where this team is taking me and the final resting place of my my rating. So in this case, we see the switch into Medicham. Obviously, we're going to go into our Jellicent, farm up a little bit, just make sure they don't get to another Psychic, because that's what's going to KO. Throw the Shadow Ball. If they want to shield, that's fine. We can play this game all day. Because we slightly outpace them to Psychics. If they bait, they might have a chance, but we're so far ahead in energy, they would have to have, I think, some successful power-up, like a couple successful power-up punch baits. Yeah, and they shield again. And we're just going to get to the Shadow Ball right away. So we're going to take shield and switch advantage with Jellicent here. And they're going to come back in with Swampert. This is really tricky for them, right? With shields down, Lickitung just needs to get to a Power Whip. And in comes Skarmory. So quite a difficult backline. The Swampert leads are great, but the problem is because almost all the Pokemon are so great against Swampert on this team, they're not so great against Skarmory. So Skarmory in the back is still a little bit of trouble. If you're running Dynamic Punch, this is way easier. And I don't quite get to that Ice Punch, which is really unfortunate. But at the same time, I know nothing the Skarmory is going to do is going to be able to KO Lickitung. So we're going to throw this Body Slam once we get to Body Slam and Power Whip, I believe. And just throw that Power Whip at the Swampert. This shield should be enough. There's no way they have 2... or they can get 2 charge moves off, and we're going to be able to Power Whip this thing down with our tongue. It really says a lot for Lickitung's dental hygiene when a move using its mouth can be considered a grass move, but we'll not talk about that at all. This next game, we're going to see a Scrafty lead. This is probably one of the toughest leads. I stick in for a little bit, trying to think about how to do this. And I'm going to no-shield the first one, kind of hoping that they Power Up Punch. Which they do. So we're going to hit them with the Body Slam. And we're actually just going to stay in this matchup. just because we kind of really need this Medicham to do some work. The Power Punch doesn't quite KO, so this next Body Slam is actually kind of a big deal. This kind of makes it so that, oh, it actually forces a shield out of the Scrafty, preserving some health. And they're going to switch into Hypno, which we're going to counter switch right away with Jellicent. So obviously Hypno, not actually that good of a matchup for Jellicent in the 2 shield. But in the 1 shield, boy, is this a good matchup. We're going to be able to get that Shadow Ball up before they even get to a charge move. And they're going to obviously bring back in the Scrafty here. This was expected, to which I'm going to no shield. And hopefully get to this Ice Beam anyways. Yep. Remember, Scrafty's only good versus Jellicent because of foul play and the typing. Its fast moves aren't very good, and we have Frostlass in the back, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. We have 2 shields on the Medicham, but they only have 1 on the Frostlass, so likely we're going to be able to throw a 2 Psychics here, and I'm just making sure I don't go over 100 energy there by throwing now. You can't double up Psychics, remember that, right? Psychic is 55 energy. So we're going to throw this first Psychic here, and actually because they let it through, we don't even have to throw the second Psychic. We're just going to counter down. That was Freezing Sun, one of the best Canadian players actually in the world, so an honor to have played versus them. And it's not a Retro Cup team either, right? Because that Scrafty is not allowed in Retro Cup. I know some players accidentally bringing Retro Cup teams. We have the Shadow Hypno lead into Azumarill, so this is a bit of an interesting situation. So I switch into Jellicent to try and catch the Pump. Let's see if they're actually running Pump. They are. So nice little catch here. My Lickitung has a ton of energy to be able to throw out whatever now. And because I caught a Pump instead of a Play Rough, Jellicent should be able to pretty easily handle this Azumarill and win back switch advantage if they do choose to stay in. Yeah, there's the Play Rough. We're going to get lower for that, that Farm Down. That's going to happen. Yeah, they're going to come back in with the Hypno. We're actually still going to get to the Shadow Ball, so this is a pretty big deal too. We'll see if they do want to shield it up. They don't, because they understand there's a pretty bad matchup for it waiting in the wings. And we have Umbreon, so this game is all but over. Kind of hard counter City. And this will happen. Charge up a little bit more and switch out, and yeah, they'll see that Pokemon and just quit out there, so. With Hypno in the lead, you can usually expect a Dark in the back. So if you can keep your Medicham away from that Hypno, those games are pretty good. You'll see this does lose to Hypno Double Dark though, because Jellicent can't beat the Dark types. Oh yeah, so explaining matchups as well. Sorry, I should have went over this earlier, what to switch out and what not to switch out of. The things that you're going to want to switch out of are fighters that aren't Medicham, and pseudo fighters that aren't Deoxys, so anything that's not Psychic. And you're going to want to switch out of Bastiodon and G-Fisk as well. So in this case, they baited me first, the Rock Slide, which means I'm going to be able to get the Shadow Ball off and win the Zero Shield. And yeah, they decide not to shield as well, which is great for me. So it's starting to look like, starting to look a lot like the FP Sticks team here. We've got the G-Fisk lead, we've got the Pelipper switch in. Lickitung is amazing against Pelipper. You barely get outpaced, which is fine, because you just outbulk it by so much. It doesn't matter. Like, that's a Hurricane. You need 2 Hurricanes. Hurricane and Weather Ball is not enough without significant chip damage. Where's it now? So we're going to get shield advantage here, which is fine because they had a couple wing attack lead, and they're going to be able to get another Weather Ball up here. But Medicham with 2 shields is quite powerful, and in comes Azu. So make sure we're throwing with proper timing. We have to shield anything that comes in now. It's not the FP Sticks team, it's a double water team. So very interesting, a little bit of expectation subverting here. I was definitely expecting a Venusaur, which I can for sure beat with 2 shield advantage and Psychic. But at the same time, Azumarill, also not the greatest against Medicham. You'd think Azumarill with a Fairy type charge move and resisting counters would be able to deal with Medicham quite a bit better, but Medicham actually beats Azumarill in the 1 shield, and I think you'll see a couple of those matches here. And obviously with shield advantage, you beat it even harder, so we're going to win this game as well. Despite the bad lead too, right? That's a G-Fisk. So you're going to see a lot of not very good leads in these sets as well, and still we managed to pull out a 5-0, first ever set with the team, I believe. So I was pretty confident with the team after that. I'm just going to rock it right up here. Make sure we queue Great League, not Ultra League. That would be a little bit of a disaster. And here's Sableye lead. Sableye lead is definitely something you don't want to see, but the problem is the Lickitung switch in is hard too. Because likely when it's a Sableye lead, we're going to see a Bastiodon in the back. And Bastiodon is not something that this team really deals well with besides Medicham. So if at all possible, you want to stay in Lickitung on Lickitung. But if, for example, you have that Sableye in the lead, you're going to run into some issues. Because you need the Lickitung for that Sableye as well. So Sableye comes back in, throw the Ice Punch, go down, and notice how we just barely beat that Lickitung. That was on purpose. If we have more health, then the Sableye is able to get more farm and maybe even be able to beat this Lickitung afterwards. So we're just going to throw this Power Whip right away, get this damage out on the Sableye, and lick down. We might have to take one more foul play. And it's a Medicham, so very lucky here. It was not the Bastiodon, it was indeed the Medicham that came in. So Sableye, actually sorry, it would be Medicham regardless. And we're gonna call that Power Up Punch bait. And because we called the first bait, this game is essentially over. Even though Medicham has this advantage, all we have to do, just take that one. We just can't get double Power Up Punch baited, right? If we get double Power Up Punch baited, that Psychic might KO. And hopefully we can win the race to this next move here. Actually, no, I no-shield this one as well. They switch the Sableye in and catch a Hex, unfortunately. So we're going to throw the Shadow Ball and take out this this Medi. But at that range, I think my Lickitung might have been able to deal with the Medicham as well. So that's why you don't bait, guys. That's why you just go straight for the Psychics. Regarding movesets, though, okay, this game is very hard. This is Linden Ryu, very good player. We have Shadow Abomasnow lead. This is maybe one of the worst leads for Lickitung. Just because of what comes with it in the back. Shadow Abomasnow obviously lead will come with 2 Pokemon that can deal with Medicham in the back. So, and unfortunately you can't really switch into Jellicent. So you do have quite a bit of troubles with this specific team. Linden switches into his Sableye, which actually saves me a little bit. We play again later, and he beats me much harder due to knowing my back line and sticking in with the Abomasnow. So this time I'm just going to throw the Body Slam. I'm just trying to weaken the Sableye as much as possible so that I can maybe counter it down afterwards, because I don't want to have to spend another shield. So we're going to take this foul play. And honestly, I probably should have double shielded to guarantee alignment, because I would have been able to get this Medicham on top of that Abomasnow, and then this Jellicent on top of that Azumarill. So a bit of a misplay from my part, but this team is quite hard countered, and if it was played a bit differently, there's likely even less of a chance. I'm going to switch out to Jellicent, because I realized that Medicham is my MVP here, and catch that play rough, which allows me a shot in this game. But yeah, we're no shielding this Jellicent. We're going to come right back in with the Medicham, and unfortunately have to no shield whatever Abomasnow throws. And yeah, see those weather balls hurt quite a bit. Actually, yeah, they hurt just a little bit too much. We're going to get this Psychic off, which he no shields pretty intelligently, because if he gets the defense drop, he's going to lose. And unfortunately, he sneaks the bubble through. I didn't go for the fast move denial. I should have went for the fast move denial, but I guess I was technically one counter away from another Ice Punch anyways, so it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, Shadow Abomasnow lead, very scary to see. Jellicent lead, not scary to see. This is exactly what you want. In comes Cast Form. Oh my god, this game. So this switch in, I did not know the matchup for. I get hit by a Blizzard, and then I throw the Ice Punch, because I thought that might do enough, but it is not. So turns out Snowy Cast Form beats Medicham in the Zero Shield if you throw the wrong move. Yikes, what a disaster. This is not what you want to see when you're pushing for leaderboard at the end of the season. But we're going to come with the Jellicent and start that farm head start. And Jellicent with an energy advantage beats Jellicent without an energy advantage. So we're going to see what happens here. Obviously, I would have loved to have my Lickitung on this Jellicent. We're going to throw the Shadow Ball, and they're going to no-shield. So thank you to everyone who runs Bubble Beam. We're going to throw one more Hex and make the catch onto Lickitung. Unfortunately, Bubble Beam catch. Would have been awesome to be a Shadow Ball, but in comes Medicham. And the Medicham Lickitung matchup isn't that bad. I mentioned earlier, versus Medicham leads, you do want to stay in with Lickitung and play the odds in the back. Usually Medicham covers some Pokemon that are weak to fighting in the back. So having that Lickitung take out the Medicham right at the beginning allows your Medicham to just go ham over their back line, generally speaking. And you'll notice I actually got shield advantage here, and I'm able to come in with Jelly. And I got shields even due to even despite being debuffed. So you can imagine the non-debuffed matchup. And they actually make a fantastic catch here onto their Jellicent. I should not have allowed that to happen, but it is what it is. They're not going to make it to another Psychic anyways. We're going to take them out. Yeah, so what I say when I'm not allowing them to catch is I let my moves sync up and then through. If I don't throw my moves synced up with them, then they can't catch because they'll still be inside their own move. But it was a mistake on my part. Lickitung, fantastic player. We have another Swampert lead. We're going to go up to the Power Whip and bait. Since this match, I've played him again, and he doesn't shield the first one anymore. So I started throwing Power Whip normally. So obviously, if you're playing the exact same players like I am over and over and over and over, then you obviously have to adjust strategies. So normally I don't shield here, but I'm going to shield to try and get his second shield down because we CMP tied on the Power Whip. And with shields down, this team is very scary. And I'm going to grab that Body Slam damage to allow my Jellicent to be able to farm down. And they have a ton of energy, but unless the Swampert is carrying Earthquake, it really does not matter. In comes Cress, and we're going to blow this thing up with the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually KO. But I do have a shield. And we're going to tank that Grass Knot. It only does half HP. And we're going to switch and catch another Grass Knot. So lots of catches here today. These are plays you kind of have to make. I switch because if they're bringing Cresselia into... if they're bringing Cress into Jellicent, then they likely don't have something very good against Jellicent in the back. So I'm saving it. This entire team, I believe, is pretty weak to Jellicent. And I'm going to think I shield this one up just because I know my counter got through. Oh, fantastic switch by Lickitung too to save that Swampert for later because it likely has a move as well. And they wanted to save it from the fast move damage when my counter went through. So honestly, absolutely fantastic play from my opponent here. I don't think a lot of people would have picked up on that. But I'm going to throw this Shadow Ball. Just get rid of this Skarmory. This fast move damage is too much. I need to be able to survive that Hydro Cannon if he has it, and he luckily does not because I'm not sure I would have lived one at that range. Yeah, this next battle we have Azumarill lead. This is a great lead. Lickitung and Jellicent are both very proficient at Azumarill. They switch on to Vigoroth, and I'm going to switch right into Jellicent. So Medicham is the harder counter to Vigoroth, but usually when people are running Vigoroth, they're also running something that is weak to Medicham. So might as well go in with Jellicent where you have the much closer matchup. And what I mean by this is that you can't really get farmed down as much at the end. So we're going to throw this next Ice Beam. You slightly outpace them to Bulldoze, so as long as you switch fast enough, this matchup is good. 2 moves doesn't KO from either side. Sorry, no shield that. They're going to just barely get to this other Body Slam. I shield, I believe, because I'm not sure if we live. And we absolutely want switch advantage here, especially because we have a full Shadow Ball ready on this Jellicent. If they bring back Azu, which is what I expected from them, this Shadow Ball is absolutely going to chunk. And it's honestly worth the shield to get off, especially because they think that I'm going to get to another Shadow Ball right here. So they throw their Ice Beam. Meanwhile, Lickitung already halfway to a Power Whip. We're just going to throw inside their moves so they can't catch and they don't get any extra moves. And no shield to Power Whip. And we're just going to try and lick down. In comes Mandibuzz. So this is actually really tough. Mandibuzz is incredibly tough to deal with on this team. The Dark types in general are tough for Lickitung and Jellicent, and then Medicham has extreme difficulties with flyers. Medicham is okay versus Mandibuzz, but not at a shield disadvantage. So we're going to keep our backline hidden while we tank some of this energy. But at the same time, while I want my Lickitung to get low, I don't want it to get too low, because I want it to be able to still lick down that Azumarill if it has to meet in the future. So we're going to take that and just switch out to Medicham. We have a shield, but we can tank an Aerial Ace, no problem. And I was unsure of the status of the Azumarill's energy, right? And a Play Rough will do much more than an Aerial Ace will. So we're going to try and counter this thing all the way down, and are going to be successful. And in comes Azumarill. I'm throwing Ice Punch on the switch in. Just, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I should have just countered down there. Fast move damage was enough. I guess I underestimated how low that Azumarill was. But we're going to get another 4 wins in this set and just keep rocketing on upwards to almost the 3,500s. We'll see if we can make it in this next set. Next game versus Kimleyhorn. Another, like, every player I'm playing here is a fantastic player, and that's the great thing about these leaderboard push videos, is that these opponents are like the best players in the world. Here we have an Altaria lead matchup. This is actually a very important lead to know how to play correctly. We're gonna play the 0 shield. Lickitung does win the 1 shield, but at the same time you're giving up a shield then that they don't have to spend. So we're gonna play the 0. And the beautiful thing about this matchup, and unfortunately it might be a little bit IV and connection dependent, is that Altaria has to throw the second Sky Attack, and at this point they are 5 hexes from being KO'd, which is exactly how long it takes them to get to a Sky Attack. So Jellicent's going to come in, and oh, that's beautiful. Free Shadow Ball on the come in. We're even in shields, and they bring in the Azumarill. So generally, Altaria paired with things that don't really do well against Jellicent, so having this energy advantage is really nice. Unfortunately, Altaria is normally paired with stuff that also does pretty well against Medicham, like this Azu, so we will see how it goes. I took a little bit of damage earlier, but I can still easily tank a Play Rough. I did debate shielding it though, right? Because if they're bringing an Azu, that means whatever they have in the back is weaker. I believe I actually no-shield this Ice Beam, and we're going to switch right away. Our Jellicent is still alive. And unfortunately, they have a Shadow Machamp in the back. Sorry, unfortunately for them, not for me. I'm just going to throw the Ice Punch, because I know if they let it through, it's just a couple counters to go down. It wasn't really a bait. But I think they saw the writing on the wall already, and we're just trying to switch and allow their Pokemon to go down to end the game a little bit faster. This next game, we have a Bastiodon lead, so this is one of the worst leads possible. We're going to switch out. And unfortunately, Jellicent doesn't beat Bastiodon. Jellicent normally, unless they're running Grass in the back, the Bastiodon will stay in, because it'll be Double Fighter or something like that. And that's pretty bad news for Jellicent, but unfortunately this is the only play you can make. Lickitung versus Bastiodon is absolutely miserable. Jellicent versus Bastiodon is a little bit better, but still not great. At least you should outpace them to 3 moves. Oh no, sorry, you shouldn't, because yeah, it's 14 for them. If you sneak 1 through, you can. And if you fast move, deny both. But you'll see I lagged there a little bit as well. So we're going to wait down the switch timer and come in with Medicham. And another beautiful farm. See, you love to see stuff like this. If you're setting up your own Pokemon for farm, it doesn't matter if you lose the matchup. So this Sableye comes in, and we're going to switch right out and be met with another Medicham. So you would think this is hard counter, correct, right? You have Bastiodon into the Jellicent, you have Medicham getting countered by Sableye, you have Lickitung getting countered by Medicham. So it is a pretty hard counter team, and it's really tough to wiggle out of these situations. But if they're throwing power-up punches, we can grab shields or switch advantage here. Actually, no, we can't. It's going to be a tie game and 2 shields remaining on both sides. But you know what? With that energy advantage that Medicham built up on Bastiodon, this matchup may not be as one-sided as one might think. With the fast move damage coming in from both sides, Sableye might end up being in Ice Punch range at the end of this whole thing. It's a race to the finish here. build up to 2 Ice Punches. We're going to Fast Move, Deny, throw that one. And then we're just going to throw this second Ice Punch. And actually going to be able to win this triple hard counter team. So, it is possible, guys. Don't give up. As soon as if your swap in is countered and then your swap in after that is countered, the game's not over, right? It's all about managing your energy and making sure that your Pokemon are getting good farms. Here's another Altaria lead, so I can show you that it's not just that one guy's Altaria. Also, I was doing this all of Retro Cup as well with the Alolan Marowak. Actually, we won't get to see it this time. They're going to swap into their Medicham instead. This is perfectly fine for me. Obviously, you have to take that Psychic, build up 4 more Hexes, fail the Fast Move Denial, but we're going to go for that Shadow Ball. And they're not going to shield. They know the writing is on the wall, but they still have an Altaria, and Altaria doesn't like Jellicent with energy if it's not running Bubble Beam, which we're not. But they shield anyways. Yeah, very close to being able to get that off. Lickitung still has a lot of energy. We're going to come right in, Body Slam right away to start this damage rolling, and they've got a Toxicroak in the back, so pretty decent scenario here. We're going to no shield the Sludge Bomb, which is really scary, to be honest. I don't know why I did that. We're going to have to shield up this Mud Bomb. I'm playing like I win CMP, but you definitely don't win CMP here. Throw the Psychic, and we're going to undercharge it a little bit. But even though I barely hit any bubbles at all, that Psychic is going to go all the way through. And unfortunately, I'm going to get all the way, or farmed all the way down by this Altaria, and it's going to be a race to a couple moves here. This Altaria had a lot of farm on this Jellicent. My Lickitung had a decent amount of farm on that Altaria, and I think I'm going to win by just a couple turns here. Despite a poor play from myself against that Toxicroak, if I had ended that matchup with a couple Ice Punches instead, it would have been in a little better scenario, or an extra shield, right? If I just thrown that Psychic right away. Both would have been much better situations. Stunfisk lead, very bad lead. Remember, we got to switch out to Jellicent. These aren't nearly as bad as the Bastiodon leads, but they usually come with some things that aren't so friendly to Jellicent in the back. Luckily, we're baiting out this Tropius right now. It's starting to look a lot like a certain Pelipper team. And we're going to throw Shadow Ball here. I don't know why. I really already threw Ice Beam, so I shouldn't have revealed my full moveset. But they're going to give up Switch advantage here, which is absolutely perfect for this. Especially because G-Fist can't really farm down unless it really wants to take this like a couple Shadow Balls to the face. And yeah, they're going to misplay a little bit, and we're going to CMP tie. Yeah, the Rock Slide, Medicham's going to come in, and there's the Pelipper, right? So very comfortable matchup once we're in this situation. You don't really have to worry about Lickitung versus Pelipper too much. You can match shields if you want. So they shield once. I'm probably not going to shield. Because as long as you're not too far behind, honestly, I think you win with one shield disadvantage as well sometimes. If you have a little bit of energy lead. So this Pelipper is shielding twice. It really needs to do something to this Lickitung. I know they're not going to throw Hurricanes just because, but yeah, I don't shield this. In hindsight, it would have been a much safer play to just shield it, get that Body Slam off for sure. Oh, we're both going to switch right away, and yeah. That's what it is. Medicham versus G-Fisk is very strong. I did talk about moves. I keep talking about it, and then games start going. Okay, so movesets. Jellicent might be better with Bubble, and Bubble Beam is something to consider, and I was really considering taking Ice Punch off Medicham, because it didn't really actually come in that much use, and just going for Power Up Punch instead. But that's stuff that I want to think about later, not during my leaderboard push, and maybe at the beginning of next season I'll start experimenting with some movesets as well. Maybe not beginning, but next season for sure. This game we have Sirfetch'd lead. This is maybe the hardest lead, because the only place to swap into Jellicent and grab this shield advantage. I haven't been able to beat a Sirfetch'd lead yet, but at least you wear down the switch, and then you come in with Medicham, and then you switch back into your Lickitung. So the problem is, if they're willing to switch out of their Sirfetch'd here, they know the Sirfetch'd has a good enough matchup versus the Lickitung that it doesn't matter, and that they have a Pokemon on the back that also deals with Medicham. They don't make this play unless they have 2 Pokemon that deal with Medicham. So we're going to throw that Power Whip, and we're going to throw this Body Slam as well, because KOing this isn't enough. I need to end this matchup with a little bit of energy, or I need to be KO'd myself, so I can throw Body Slam at this Sirfetch'd. But they know that as well, so they come in right away. Get a no-shield this Leaf Blade, but Leaf Blade hits really hard, and they're going to get to a second one, so we are going to have to blow a shield here. Obviously, we're going to shield the second one just in case they Night Slash and boost on the first one, but we'll see what they have in the back. It's highly unlikely. Yeah, there we go. It's Skarmory. If I was running Dynamic Punch, this would have been quite a bit better. But I still don't know if it would be enough. And yeah, they're just going to get their shields off here. And yeah, not even going to get to another move. I don't even need to use my shield here. Or they're not going to let me use my shield here. Nothing to shield. Skarmory's enough to take down the back line there. But we're going to still get another 4 wins. 35-26. And that's in just 3 sets, I believe. I want to say that's almost 200 points in 3 sets. Mew lead here. This is a lead you love to see, but in comes Sirfetch'd, and this is the perfect place to see it. Unfortunately, this counter switch is still very hard. It's not like Medicham just dominates it. And they throw a Night Slash, I think hoping for the boost. But yeah, this was a very poorly thought out Ice Punch by me, since they still get to their next move. So I let them take me down a little bit further, so that I get farmed less. They're going to come in with an Altaria. But in hindsight, if I hadn't done that, I would have been able to make it to an Ice Punch. And now I have to bring my Jellicent in versus this Altaria. So still not a bad matchup, but what I did was no shields. This Sky Attack, and now they make a fantastic catch on their Mew, and this is potentially a game-winning catch here. So we're going to throw the Body Slam to try and stop this Mew from getting off too many moves. So this is another miscalculation by me. I can't be throwing them this early. We're going to shield this move because it's going to deal much more damage than Sky Attack. But the problem is now Altaria has 2 shields. Lickitung only has 1 shield. Jellicent is within Sky Attack range, so if Lickitung gets farmed down, there's going to be some major issues. And that's why we have to keep our shield, unfortunately. So we're going to throw this next Body Slam. And if they no shield, we're going to be in some really big problems because Jellicent needs to be able to get to a couple moves here. So we're going to shield the Jellicent because it's our only win con at this point. But it's not going to be enough, right? Because this Altaria can just farm down and then throw Sky Attack at Lickitung. So this was one where I hard countered most of the way through and I still managed to lose. So let that be another lesson. Don't give up if you're hard countered, right? I managed to throw this game as well. People make mistakes at all ranges of the leaderboard. Deoxys lead, this one's tough, but generally you want to stay in, but they're immediately out to Vigoroth anyways, so it's likely a triple counter team at this point. One of the most successful teams I've ever made. I think it is still very strong. I just don't have an Obstagoon to run with it anymore. This Vigoroth matchup should be familiar with you, and if they switch first, it's really good as well because while the rest of your team can't handle Obstagoon, Medicham can certainly handle Obstagoon. So you don't really need to worry too much about that. You just need to keep your Jellicent on that Vigoroth and keep your Lickitung on that. Sorry, what am I trying to say? Keep the Lickitung on the Deoxys. You absolutely need switch advantage here. So once again, I'm gonna have to shield a Body Slam. Feels pretty bad. And they're actually gonna switch into Deoxys. So this is throwing a little bit of a wrench in my plans. I really just want to take down that Vigoroth. Luckily my move didn't get caught. And I make a really bad play. Instead of switching out, I decide to just try and take down that Deoxys. Greedy play by me. Instead, this Deoxys now has a ton of energy, so I've made this game very, very hard for myself. But the goal here is to take out the Deoxys, and once the Deoxys is gone, Medicham can kind of do whatever it wants, or once the Deoxys is low enough as well. So a great catch onto their Vigoroth again. And we're going to come in with Medicham and be able to take down that Vig, see what they come in with in the back. But they quit and decided not to show me their last Pokemon, but I would bet quite a bit that it was an Obstagoon. Alright, Medicham lead. So this is what I'm talking about with the Medicham leads. There's a lot of these nowadays. Let's play this out. So we're going to play the Zero Shield, unless they throw Power Up Punch. If they throw Power Up Punch, we're going to leave that matchup, go straight into Jellicent, make them waste their energy. But most Medichams just go for this Psychic play. We're going to No Shield. But the thing is, you still get to that move. And unfortunately, this they actually switch out instead of spending another shield. And I'm going to allow their Lickitung to throw energy and take down my Lickitung. So I can come with Medicham, clean slate. So remember how Psychic didn't take out Lickitung in the previous encounter, take down my Lickitung? And I was able to get to that other Body Slam. So with a Body Slam thrown at their Lickitung, this Psychic will guaranteed take them out after another counter, which they're not going to get to a Body Slam in. So you'll notice my Medicham is much more healthy than theirs at this point. In comes Sableye, and yeah, this is the problem. Sableye in the back is absolute trouble for this team. I've actually theorized that Sableye as a Jellicent replacement here could be extremely good. I've had mixed results from people I've asked to try it for me, but I do think that it could be very, very strong, and Sableye gives you more farm down potential as well. But once the Sableye has an energy advantage, it is very tough for Jellicent to be able to do anything here. Shield a Shadow Ball, and are just going to be able to take out my Jellicent. Yeah, so this is an example of how to play the Medicham lead, but this is also a reminder that, hey, guess what? This strategy won't work every single time, right? A lot of time, Medicham is accompanied with Bastiodon in the back, and those teams are absolutely necessary. Just take that Medicham out at the beginning. So Lickitung lead. I'm trying to fast move deny these licks, and I don't know if I'm crazy, but it honestly seems to be working. I have not lost a Lickitung lead mirror yet. See, you see my lick goes like off afterwards, so it looks like I get a lick through on theirs, but then when I throw, our licks end at the same time. So, and I'm trying to fast move deny these one-turn moves. I'm not sure if it's actually working or if my connection is just better than them. But I like normally move sneak through all the time when I'm not fast move denying. So look, once again, not another lick animation. So I believe I'm a couple licks ahead of this guy at this point. So on this last one, I'm just going to throw right away. Yeah, we're going to take that. Winning switch is nice. But they get the ability to farm down with something. So we'll see how this goes. It really depends what they have. And it's Medicham. So this is why switch is nice, because I've got this Jellicent. The problem is if they have something like a Sableye, then I'm going to be in some real trouble. And it's definitely not uncommon for there to be a Sableye at this point, as this would be a mirror team with the Sableye instead of Jellicent, which is what I would like to be playing. Yeah, we're going to shield this one up too. We don't want Medicham on Medicham here. Ooh, the defense drop kind of hurts. But just keep throwing those Shadow Balls, farming up afterwards. And CMP tie, or fake CMP tie, so I do have to shield this. But we're going to be able to take out this Medicham. Oh, I don't actually get pulled into the tie, so I get a little bit extra farm. We're going to switch regardless because of the defense drop on Jellicent, and it's Azumarill. So we'll see who wins the 2 shield, or sorry, the 0 shield on Azumarill. The answer might surprise you. Actually, maybe it won't. See, Play Rough does quite a bit of damage, but you can definitely tank one, and you outpace just a little bit, I believe. Is it an outpace? Yeah, it's like a very slight outpace. And you win the CMP to get that Psychic off, and they can't farm down. So what happens here is Azu has to throw their move, and Jellicent should just be able to Hex down or reach that Shadow Ball at the same time as Azumarill should reach their next move and take them out. So Medicham, not as hard countered by Azumarill as some people might think. That's for sure. And if it's not running Play Rough, it's the same thing. I think they need just a Hydro Pump and an Ice Beam, or a Play Rough and an Ice Beam to take you down regardless. So the Play Rough doesn't actually help this matchup that much. We have a Gliscor lead. This is very, very spicy. Lickitung handles this pretty well. We're going to no shield despite the fact that there's almost no way they're baiting the Earthquake. deals a ton of damage, but at the same time you outpace. And they get to Weather Ball here. I'm just really hoping I survive this and still get to this Power Whip. But I switch out with the Energy instead because I have a pretty dominant matchup here with the Jellicent. And if they're swapping Politoed, a lot of the Politoed swaps, or safe swaps, they're running Blizzard instead. So if they're running Blizzard, you can absolutely abuse this on Jellicent. These Weather Balls are not very effective at all. Jellicent's got a great defensive typing. So you're going to be able to throw a Shadow Ball. They're actually shielding, which is a bit weird considering they're in this losing matchup already. I would have thought that they would want to get out and farm my Jellicent down, but I guess they were just waiting for the decent clock to try and pull this switch off. We have an Ice Beam loaded though, so we're able to take down that Gliscor, and we'll see what they come back in with. So Quagsire, very interesting to see Quagsire this high up, especially well on a team this spicy, but we're gonna tank some energy from this Quagsire. And then we can come in with the Medicham and probably just counter down everything. Remember, we still have a Power Whip loaded up on this Lickitung, but at this point both Pokemon are kind of low enough that I just want the Body Slam damage anyways. And yeah, we're just gonna switch into the Medicham, and even without Power Up Punch, we're gonna be able to counter down any of these water types in the back. So only a three wins here. Battle's definitely got tougher, and here we get a Frillish, kind of symbolic, our last set of the season with a new team, with Jellicent kind of controlling the flow of the game, being that Pokemon that comes in and farms down after a lead loss, and we get rewarded with a little Frillish at the end. So very symbolic way to end the season. Felt like this was a good stopping point for me. I enjoyed the season. Honestly, I put a little bit too much pressure on myself last season. I was not very happy with the person I was in the last week, with how stressed and obnoxious I was probably to be around. But I appreciate all you guys supporting me watching my videos. I do think this team, or a slight variation of it, is one of the best teams in GBL, and I wouldn't just throw that word around lightly. Like there's a reason I'm climbing with it at the end of the season, and this is the team I chose. I'm not just choosing a random team and trying to push leaderboards with it. This is one I truly feel is very good, and I worked very hard. I biked hundreds of kilometers, 500, 600 plus for both Lickitung and Medicham to get them ready for this team. So it does feel really good to be able to make that final push with all that blood, sweat, and tears that I poured into making these Pokemon, and having that team turn out even better than I initially expected. I haven't had that much practice with this team, and it was still able to climb right away, which is something relatively new for me. But yeah, so that's it's been a long season, guys. Thank you so much for your support. I'm definitely not going to finish on the front page of the leaderboard, but you know what? Finishing up in that top 100 is going to be, I'm pretty happy with that. Everyone's getting better every season, and it's, as more and more of you guys are watching videos, it's harder and harder for me to get away with teams that are kind of more off the board, as people will know the leads and switches right as I play them, unless I break out a new team for the final week, which is probably what I'll have to keep doing if I want to keep making these pushes. But yeah, I've rambled long enough. I'll leave my stuff in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching.